Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello, and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. I'm Ethan Foster, and today we'll unpack Dr. Joseph Mercola's recent open letter challenging two pillars of U.S. dentistry: water fluoridation and mercury amalgam fillings. We'll explore the evidence, global trends, and what these findings mean for public health. Joining me is Alara Skye, here to break down the details.
Thanks, Ethan. Dr. Mercola's letter, originally published in the March-April 2025 Well-Being Journal, urges the American Dental Association to halt its support for fluoridated water and mercury-based fillings. He argues that modern research links fluoride to cognitive and thyroid issues and mercury to systemic toxicity, pushing U.S. dentistry to align with safer international practices.
Let's start with water fluoridation. Since the mid-20th century, municipalities have added fluoride to drinking water to curb cavities. Dr. Mercola contends that while tooth decay rates initially dropped, mounting studies now question the practice's safety. What does the contemporary data reveal?
A 2024 systematic review in environmental research consistently tied fluoride exposure to reduced IQ scores in children. Additional studies linked even low-level exposure to ADHD symptoms and diminished executive function. The takeaway: fluoride's neurotoxic potential outweighs its limited dental benefits when ingested rather than applied topically.
Beyond cognition, Dr. Mercola highlights thyroid concerns. The National Research Council found credible evidence that fluoridated water can suppress thyroid activity. Historical context is striking. Clinicians in 1950s Europe and South America prescribed fluoride therapeutically to lower overactive thyroids. What dosage range raised red flags?
Clinical research from 1958 showed that as little as 2 to 5 milligrams of fluoride per day over several months suppressed thyroid function. Residents of fluoridated communities easily reach that range, with estimated intakes between 1.6 and 6.6 milligrams daily. That positions routine exposure squarely within the threshold associated with endocrine disruption.
Western Europe reacted decisively. By 2024, about 98% of its population drank non-fluoridated water, choosing education, fluoride-free products, and dietary improvements instead. Their rejection isolates the United States. Why does the ADA still endorse communal fluoridation in light of these international shifts?
Dr. Mercola suggests institutional inertia and an outdated risk-benefit calculus. Early cavity prevention success stories linger, even as current evidence favors targeted, topical fluoride. Continuing systemic exposure diverts resources from approaches that respect both dental and neurological health, particularly crucial as global norms evolve.
That topical versus ingested distinction is pivotal. Research now shows fluoride's cavity-fighting effect is almost entirely surface level. Swallowing it offers no added protection, yet introduces systemic risk. In short, we can preserve oral benefits while eliminating unnecessary ingestion.
Exactly. Fluoride varnishes, toothpastes, and rinses deliver localized defense without burdening the brain or thyroid. Redirecting policy toward these methods mirrors Europe's outcome: comparable dental health minus neuroendocrine hazards.
Let's pivot to mercury amalgam fillings. These restorations are roughly 50% elemental mercury, a recognized neurotoxin. Dr. Mercola argues their continued use contradicts emerging toxicological data. How compelling is the evidence linking amalgams to systemic mercury levels?
A University of Georgia study measured blood mercury in adults and found that those with more than 8 amalgam fillings had more than double the mercury concentration of individuals with none. The dose-response relationship underscored direct exposure from dental work, challenging claims that amalgams are inert once set.
International policy again seems ahead of U.S. guidelines. The European Union enacted a sweeping ban on dental amalgam, effective January 1, 2025, covering use, manufacture, and export. Which other nations or bodies have adopted similar restrictions?
The Philippines, New Caledonia, St. Kitts and Nevis, and Moldova have fully banned amalgam. Tanzania, Vietnam, and Mauritius prohibit it in children and pregnant or breastfeeding women. Additionally, Major institutions, India's armed forces and its rail system, have eliminated amalgam practice, signaling cultural and administrative momentum toward mercury-free dentistry.
Despite that, U.S. federal programs like Medicaid and Indian Health Services still rely heavily on amalgam, disproportionately affecting vulnerable groups with limited care options. Dr. Mercola calls this a social justice issue. Safer alternatives exist, yet the populations least able to advocate for themselves receive the riskiest material.
Precisely. Composite and glass ionomer restorations are now robust, affordable, and mercury-free. Transitioning doesn't merely align with toxicology. It promotes equitable care. Continuing amalgam use where patients have little choice entrenches health disparities and environmental mercury release.
Dr. Mercola presents two clear action points for the ADA: discontinue support for municipal water fluoridation and phase out amalgam fillings in favor of mercury-free options. He positions the profession's credibility on its willingness to revise policy when evidence advances.
He also frames these moves as consistent with dentistry's preventive ethos. By embracing non-ingested fluoride applications and biocompatible restoratives, the ADA would champion both oral health and whole-body safety, reflecting modern science and international leadership.
Summing up, the letter confronts legacy practices with robust data. Fluoride ingestion links to cognitive and thyroid harm. Mercury amalgams elevate systemic mercury and remain out of step with global norms. The path forward, localized fluoride, mercury-free fillings, is already proven abroad.
Dr. Mercola's closing appeal is straightforward. Align U.S. dentistry with the latest evidence and global best practices to protect patients and the environment. The decision now rests with the ADA and policymakers to act on this cellular wisdom for the next generation's health.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.